Hey, welcome back. All right, today I want to get back into finances a little bit and get into something a little bit deeper. Now, what a lot of our financial impulses are, when we buy something, we have a feeling about it. We're looking to, it's a lot of the times we're pursuing pleasure. We have a feeling, we are imagining ourselves with that item, or maybe sitting in a new car, what it'll feel like going down the road, or a new stereo, or a bigger house, or a better house in a better neighborhood. We're really imagining ourselves in those situations. And so what I think a lot of financial maturity is about is really just emotional regulation. It's really not about, getting ahead financially. There are things that help. Having a budget, tracking your expenses, spending less than you make, saving the difference, investing the difference, and investing in smart vehicles that are going to give you a return over time. Okay? It's not about the flashy thing. It's not about wanting to win the lottery. Look, if you're a lottery ticket buyer, I recommend you stop right now. We all know the chances of you winning are so slim, and if you project one tool we can do is we can project our expenses forward. Look, I used to smoke a ton of weed, and one thing that really woke me up, and I didn't do this until I had been smoking for like 15 years, is I figured, I spent about $50 on a bag every week, and then I extrapolated that out for an entire year. $50 times 52 weeks, and I didn't like that number. Now seeing that didn't get me to quit. That was one step in the progression of me quitting. But when we think about spending, whether it's we get a pack of cigarettes, every morning, we get a pack of cigarettes and a Monster Energy drink every morning, or we get a coffee at a coffee shop, $4 or $5 coffee, whatever it is, take the time to think of that forward and what that would cost you at the end of the year, 2 years, 3 years, okay? But then also, when we have those moments of those cravings, it's just our routine, it's just our temptation, and especially when we're so used to driving to the coffee shop every morning to get our mocha, our latte, our cappuccino, and then when we want to detour from that because we want to save money, or maybe we're getting that mocha every morning and we also want to be healthier because it's a lot of sugar and the whipping cream on top. When we detour from that and we want to go to a healthier path, a more financially sound, mature path, it's tough, and we have those feelings, those uncomfortable. I always get that though, and also that's my routine. My morning is I go there, I get the coffee, I feel good, I see my people there, I see the employees, whatever, they're super nice, and then I go about my day. Or maybe maybe I don't want to get a pack of cigarettes after work or before work. I want to go to the supermarket and get it. I want to change that. I want to get a piece of fruit, or I want to get a salad for lunch. When we do these things, and then we implement them, we're going to have those feelings. Same with starting a workout program. Okay. Same with so many other things. Quitting cigarettes, quitting alcohol. We're going to have those urges, those cravings, or those uncomfortable feelings just because we're not doing the thing that felt good anymore. And it's in those moments where, number one, you got to believe. And I'm not saying you got to believe, but you got to tell yourself and remind yourself that I'm fine without this thing. I'm a complete person, and I want to be the healthier version of myself. I want to be the more financially stable version of myself, and I can be that. Okay? And it's okay when you talk to yourself like that and something inside you is like, no, you got that inner critic. You can change it a little bit. You can say, I am that healthier version of myself. I want to be that healthier version of myself, but I know from my past and the way my parents talk to me, it's hard for me to believe that right now, but I can keep going towards that. And that's a little bit more reality based. Maybe if we have that inner critic and we're working on shrinking that. Okay. But really for finances, it is those little changes. So if you eliminate that pack of cigarettes, extrapolate that over a year. What are you saving now? Not just what are you spending if you had continued to do it. What are you saving now? And what I recommend, this is the tool that worked for me. Many tools work for other people. I'm not a fan of budgets, but they do work. Some people, to me, budgeting is like white knuckling through something and just gritting it and grinding it. What worked for me was tracking my expenses. Anything I buy, I keep a receipt. And then when I come home, I have a notepad on the counter, right there in my face with a pen, and I write down everything I bought that day. Whether it was something I was happy to buy, sustained my life, or was maybe a splurge, okay? I still wrote it down. And I did that for a month, and then you kind of go through it, and okay, I spent all this. And I'm not talking about like big expenses like rent. You can add rent, you can add your bills in there. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's good to understand the totality of what we're doing. Okay, but this was more like the day-to-day expenses, you know, things you just, you know, pull out your credit card for and just beep, and then you're gone. Those smaller ones, and then you realize, okay, I could do a little bit less of this, I could do a little bit less of that, and you do it again for another month, and then maybe another month, and then you do it for 3 months, and you start to really get a grip on what you're spending on, and really where you can make cuts, and seeing that is so critical and so helpful to ourselves, okay? Because otherwise, look, when we've all been there, okay? We lie to ourselves because we think if we think about it and we tell ourselves, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year, I'm going to save $10,000 this year, I'm going to stop drinking this year, whatever it is, we think, okay, because we've thought about it enough and we've determined it in our head and we've had that thought that we're going to do it. But look, let's be honest with ourselves. We've all done that and we've all ended up not doing it. We do it for, a day, a week, a month. Okay, let's understand that. Let's grow up a little bit. There's nothing wrong with growing up. There's nothing wrong with the word growing up. I'm not shaming anyone. Look, I've been broke as hell. I've been down in the dirt. I've been very unhealthy. I've been there. I understand. I've told myself I'm going to stop. I told myself I'm going to save more. I've told myself I'm going to do this, do that, and then not do it after a little bit. Okay. That's our starting point, okay? I have empathy and sympathy for where we're all starting, okay? But what we want to do is have a little bit more maturity. Understand that it is going to be uncomfortable when we no longer go to the coffee shop every morning. Or maybe we switch from a $6 mocha, caramel mocha, to just a small coffee, regular coffee. Okay, maybe we put some Splenda in it, or I'm not telling anyone to drink, use sugar. We know how bad it is, but you get what I'm saying. We're reducing, okay? We're still having something. We enjoy coffee. We need a little jolt. We're just reducing what we spend and maybe something a little bit healthier, okay? I'm no longer having cigarettes. Maybe I'm getting some nicotine gum, okay? Something like that. I'm not sure of the cost difference there, if there is one, but I'm assuming nicotine gum is cheaper than getting a $5 to $8 pack of cigarettes a day. All right. And understanding and accepting that it's going to be uncomfortable. But when we have those uncomfortable feelings and we have the cravings for the way we did things and the things we used to get, telling ourselves, look, I can get through this. I can get through today. I can get through this 10 minutes, and the craving's going to pass. Folks, the craving's going to pass just like a cloud changes, just like the worst smelling fart will eventually go away and the room or wherever you are will return to normal zero toxicity levels of air. Okay, that's how those things work. Okay, when we have those cravings, when we have those emotional pulls to buy something, to go shopping. Maybe you're a woman and you love getting makeup, or I don't know. You love going to Target, to Walmart, and you just love browsing the aisles, and then at the end of it, you realize your whole cart is full. We all have our different things, okay? But the cravings, we need to sit with them, be okay with them, and understand that they're gonna pass, Okay, because that's what a lot of this is, and this is what I'm learning a ton from the podcast that I've talked about before, the Stop Drinking Coach. Okay, we're now, when we were kids, we couldn't handle this stuff. We were babies, we cried when we needed food, we cried when we needed attention, when we needed care, when we needed to be caressed and told everything's okay. Okay, but now we're in our adult bodies with our adult minds and our adult emotional capacity. We may still be operating in the past like we are kids, okay? But we have the capacity to sit with these feelings, to sit through the uncomfort of them and let them pass. Because that's what didn't happen to us when we were kids. We had these feelings, and either we were yelled at because we were having these feelings, or no one recognized us for having these feelings. And so we realized that, okay, when I get angry, hungry, sad, happy, I can't show it to anyone. I just have to hold it in. And we definitely didn't have someone who came over and say, hey, I understand you're angry right now. I understand you're sad right now. It's okay. This happens to humans. This is normal. And things are going to get better, and this is going to pass. When we have mirroring like that, then when someone gives us that, then we're able to give it to ourselves. Slowly over time, we learn that from good modeling and good mirroring from the adults and our parents in our lives. But most of us didn't get that. Okay? It's okay to recognize that, accept that, but let's start to move to that next phase, because what else are we going to do? If we keep going on the financial path that we're going on, if we're in debt and we have these habits that we know we would like to break, we know we would like to save more money, we know we hate being in debt. Look, I've been there. It sucks, man. It sucks when you get those bills in the mail, you get the calls constantly. It is such a added and unnecessary mental burden. Okay, life is not supposed to be like that. All right, but we got to pull ourselves up by the bootstrap, and we got to get ourselves out of that. And it's going to take a little bit of time, and it's going to be little by little. So don't think of, okay, I need to save $10,000 this year so I can pay off these bills. No, think today. All right. And when you don't buy that mocha, when you don't buy that pack of cigarettes, when you don't buy this or that, I would even go as far as to say, make it a habit at the end of the day. If you didn't spend that, log into your bank account, move that money from your checking to your savings, or go in, and if you have a bill, look, you can pay partial bills. So if you didn't spend it on that, throw that $5, that $10, that $8 into whatever bill that you owe. So I'm going to end it right there. Thanks everyone. Like, subscribe, comment.